I knew that something was wrong, especially from the time I hit high school. I started living two lives. I was one way in front of mum and dad and a completely different way in front of people at school, and neither of them was who I was.
We visited this area regularly for 20 years before moving here. There's a broad range of really profound struggles with mental health and with issues with addiction, with hopelessness. There's a lot of anger, violence in the home, a real lack of safety, and it's really reflected in some of the challenges that the teachers face in the local schools. Sam had psychological struggles, physical struggles, behavioural, developmental struggles.
Sam really struggled socially. He's on the spectrum, he's also got ADHD, and just navigating that in a social sense was really hard for him. Sam never got invited to birthday parties, never to sleepovers, and that takes its toll on a kid because they know they're different and nobody wants that for their kid.
I was not in a good spot. I was watching stuff I shouldn't be watching. I was just in a really, really bad mental spot as well. I was fragile and didn't want to show it, and I was scared.
There was a lot of negativity, a lot of self-loathing that breaks your heart as a parent, seeing your kid who you want the best for really struggle with just the essential parts of life.
Against the grain, it's a woodworking and adventure camp. This is on a beautiful property not far from Oberon, 2 kilometres of absolute water frontage on the Fish River. And it's an opportunity to really, get away and be in God's creation and lift your eyes up, if you like. People ask, why is it woodwork and adventure camping? If you know anything about woodwork, you know that you need time for the glue to dry. So therefore, the camp is really split into 2 groups. So when half of the group are working in the shed, the other half are floating down the beautiful Fish River on their kayaks or canoes or doing archery or doing wide games and things like that. So it allows for the program to be managed around the workshop.
So I heard about Against the Grain camp when Mum was like, "Oi Sam, it was a Christian camp." Cool. We go out onto a farm in the meadows, and in the mornings and in the evenings there was a lot of talk about Jesus. That was so refreshing to have that combination of talk about God and you talk about his creation, and then you go into that creation and you see God in the country, in the nature, in the woodwork. God's there.
We set the scene, we're in a beautiful property, we're sitting around a campfire.
The elders prayed for us, and I realized that night I can give my life to Jesus Christ.
One of the other kids just said, "Look up in the sky." The sky was just lit up with the aurora, with the southern lights. Wow, the angels are dancing in heaven right now as we were celebrating Sam making a profession of faith.
It was spectacular, and it was incredible. It was so incredible. When I went home, I didn't even consciously realize I wasn't hiding things from my parents anymore.
First became obvious whenever we asked Sam to do something. It was like this joyful, yeah, sure. Or not even asking Sam to do things. He'd just get up and serve. But then the way he looked at his peers at school just completely changed. And so the content of conversations we had were mind-blowing for me. He'd be talking about his friends and their struggles. He'd be asking them about faith. And it was mind-blowing as a parent, and it was just such a living, palpable experience of the grace of God.
I remember my baptism pretty well.
He said, I want God to know and I want my people to know that I'm all for him. And so we organised it, and we came down here to this river in this very pool behind me. I think we had about 35 people from church and family and around the area who came to watch and be a part of it. And I was able to baptise Sam, not just as his minister at church, but as his dad as well. Like, what a treat to be a part of that. Him professing his faith in Jesus so publicly was just so sensational.
In order for Scripture Union to be in a position to be able to provide the network and the support for camps and schools and missions to happen, it needs people to say yes to volunteering, it needs people to say yes to praying, and it needs people to say yes to giving. You can really support this ministry by generously giving, because that generosity is going to allow many more Scripture Union activities, not unlike Against the Grain, to flourish. I'm having more conversation with more people out there with more opportunities, and we really need the resources in order to be able to see those opportunities turn into real ministry so that young people's lives can be changed.
To someone who has financially supported SU, I can say that it has genuinely shaped a huge part of my life. I think it really helped me to see what I want to do with my life so much more, and it allowed me to give my life to Jesus.
That SU can do these things at an affordable cost means that kids like Sam can hear the message of the gospel in a way they may not have heard it before, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference in this life, but it also makes an eternal difference.